Okay, bro. So about a week ago, I was in class, all right, my college class, and it's classical philosophy, all right? And just for those of you wondering, it's really just 50% Greek history and then 50% somewhat philosophy. Kind of a boring class, to be honest, but politics keep getting brought up funnily, like it's just funny, and every class. And it's really mostly the students doing somewhat, but the teacher, he will ask a question and it kind of just leads into politics. So, I think he's doing it on purpose just to, I don't know, maybe entertain himself. But yeah, dude. Anyways, a week ago, some sort of politics get brought up or something. And, I was staying quiet because I don't want to just start having a meaningless political debate with people who are never going to change their mind or honestly just kind of dumb people, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. I don't even remember what the topic was about, but basically one girl just starts going off. She was really upset and she's talking about Elon Musk and she's going like, why does one person need that much money? I was kind of just drowning it out. I didn't care. I was just scrolling on my phone, but then she started talking about how AI is really bad and all this stuff. Now, I wouldn't say AI inherently is bad. There's definitely some downsides. There's a whole lot of water consumption that goes on there, and the AI data centers are pretty, I guess, harmful to the environment, if you want to call it that. The only thing I really care about is they're hogging up all the RAM and stuff, but, like I said, I don't think AI is inherently bad or anything. I don't think it's the devil coming to get us, but yeah, she was going off about how AI is really bad and stuff, and then about X, and then she's like, Elon Musk is a predator, all this stuff, and this was like before the Epstein files came out, so maybe it was 2 weeks ago, and before everyone figured out that he was begging, bro, to go to the islands practically. But, she wasn't calling him a predator or anything because she was base. She was just calling him a predator because she did not like him. But whatever, I don't care, bro, about Elon Musk, whatever, dude. Who fucking cares? Guy's rich. He's almost worth $1 trillion. What are you going to do? But then I don't even know what happened, but she started talking about, well, there was this thing going on about 20 years ago, and we refer to it as girl boss feminism. And she started going off about that. And everyone in the class, funnily enough, was just kind of like looking at each other with these confused looks. And the teacher's like, what? Girl boss feminism? Remember, this guy's like 70 years old, bro. And that's it, bro. She just started talking about that, and then the teacher was like, all right, this is going off the rails. He just started teaching again, and nobody really responded to her or anything. But talk like this kind of comes up all the time in the class, to be honest. But me and my girlfriend, we went up to talk to the professor after class had ended, and she was up there too. And it got brought up again somehow. Someone started talking about girl boss feminism, and so I said something. I don't remember what, but then she said something like, if I don't know, like I don't like women or something, because obviously, yeah, I don't like women. I'm gay, but I was like, well, I'm a girl boss feminist, and she was like, oh, good, or I don't even know. And the teacher was like, you're a girl boss feminist, and I was like, oh, sure am. He's like, right, or wow, I don't know, bro, just some fucking stupid ass conversation. But yeah, all that was really just a segue into what happened a couple days ago. So yeah, like it always does, politics come up in the class again. Like I said, I usually just mind my own business because, compared to most of the people in the class, I probably have somewhat extreme views, I would say. So, I don't really want to get into it with just some fucking random girl boss feminist girl. And she's not the only one, like half the class is talking to each other and taking their turns to say their piece or whatever. But yeah, this is what I really wanted to make this video about. So the teacher's teaching, the professor's professing, and he's talking about Socrates, okay? And about how, I don't know if it was him or somebody, somewhere along the line, somebody flew the idea of basically having some sort of requirement to vote besides just basically being born here. And yeah, more or less an IQ test or some sort of basic knowledge test or whatever. And then, of course, the teacher asked the class, he says, well, what do you guys think about that? And, instantly I was like, yes, we need to have tests. We need to have some sort of test. I don't know what test. I don't know if it should be an IQ test, although that would probably help. Or I don't know if it should just be some sort of basic knowledge test, something like that. All right. And I didn't talk for that long. I was just like, yes, we need a test for sure. And then it's basically like 50-50. Half the kids are like, yeah, or at least the kids who are participating and actually give a fuck. Half the kids are like, yeah, we need a test. And the other half is like, no, we don't need a test or whatever. Okay. And then it's kind of going back and forth, right? And my girlfriend's sitting in front of me and she just keeps looking back at me, just Like she's giving me that look like, oh my god, these people are dumb. Because she agrees with me, dude. Because and she knew I wanted to say something, but I'm not like gonna go off. I'm not gonna like get in an argument over some dumb shit like this. All right. But yeah, I just wanted to air it out on here. So yeah. Anyways, people are talking about the test. Teachers talking about it. Whatever. But yeah, everyone who is in favor of not having a test could never really provide a good reason to why we shouldn't have tests. Because my idea is, yeah, I said this. I was like, the uneducated vote matters just as much as the educated vote. So, just by that basis, my vote really isn't doing anything but canceling out one of these dumbasses in, the class. So, if they could just automatically be filtered out of voting because I can just tell they're dumb as shit, then, that would make my life easier. But, yeah, before someone comes in here screaming and complaining, you can shut the fuck up, dude. Nobody cares. The thing is, people will get mad at everything and leave, like, just crazy-ass comments, and it's like, bro, you're not fucking roasting anybody in the comments. You can say what you want, bro. You're a fucking chud. And the people saying shit, I know, dude. They're either fucking, for one, they gotta be some sort of bots or something, or they're like just a 40-year-old fucking chud. And it's just, I don't know, bro. Find a new hobby besides watching YouTube. But yeah, dude, back to the story. I'm trailing off. Oh, and just by the way, I don't even think voting really works. I don't really think it matters who gets in the office. It's not gonna get better. So, that's where I stand. But yeah, so the kids are talking. There's one other kid who's really like into it, and he's on the side of, yeah, we need to have some sort of test or whatever. I forgot, the exact words, but he said, yeah, we definitely should have tests. And then the girl boss, feminism girl, she perks up and she goes, that is such a privileged take. And then she starts talking a little bit about it or whatever. And then in my head, I was just like, what? A privileged take to think that we should have IQ test or something of that sort for voting. I'm like, for one, there's no correlation there. And I would argue it's the opposite, bro. I would say that if you're dumb as hell and you don't know anything and you're just ignorant of everything, you don't know states, you don't know countries, you don't know basic history, you don't know how the basic government works, and you still get to vote, I would say that's probably pretty fucking privileged. I'd also say that you can't just say that's privileged and that dismantles the argument, because like I said, there's no fucking correlation there. And like in my head, I'm just like, honestly kind of pissed. I'm like, what do you mean privileged? I'm like, bro, you can't just like say that shit and act like you won the argument. And people kept talking or whatever. But in my head, I'm just like, bro, we're all fucking privileged that we're here in America and that we can, for the most part, go about our day just eating food. And if you don't care about politics, I mean, you're privileged, bro. You don't have to care about it. You can just go, like I said, eat your food, buy your meals, go shopping at fucking Walmart and live your life. That's how privileged you are. You don't have to go fuck about anything else going on in the world. That's privileged, and I know people are probably going to disagree with that or whatever, but you're just a fucking idiot, I guess. But yeah, that's really what I just want to talk about, bro. It's like, I really do think there should be some sort of test. Now, people are going to be like, well, what would you test this on or whatever? Blah, blah, blah. You don't even know. You're not going to pass it. You're not going to pass the test, all this shit, whatever. Well, in my opinion, either some sort of IQ test. I don't know how you would do that, because I think, honestly, for it to be actually fair, the test would have to be the same for everybody. So it would have to be something super, like, just common knowledge. Okay, like the states or other countries, or maybe not something like every congressman or something like that, but maybe just a basic idea of how the world works, maybe a basic idea of how your government works, maybe basic history questions, maybe some normal like morale questions, just to see if you're actually a good person or not. Because me personally, I would probably fail. I would probably fail that, because my morale right now, I'm just looking at America and I'm like, bro, honestly, I feel like I just want to watch everything crash and burn at this point. I think long term, we're fucked, because every president is not looking 30 years into the future. It's 4 years. And then maybe if they get another term, it's another 4 years. The people who actually stay in the government, people in the White House, people in Congress, or people in the CIA, a lot of these people don't have term limits. And so if something or some sort of president comes up where they don't like him or they don't like his policies or whatever, they just wait 4 years, and then they can start to push what they want to push again, bro. That's it. But yeah, so somehow it gets back to me, and I was like, yeah, I don't know why we wouldn't. And like I said the uneducated and educated, and I was like, someone could know absolutely nothing, see one clip on social media, and that's it. They're done for. Or they're voting off of one strict issue like abortion or some shit. And honestly, I'm not going to say anything except maybe when you're voting, just don't fucking tunnel vision, because there's so much more at stake, to be honest, than just one little fucking issue. And I'm not calling abortion a little issue, bro. All I'm going to say, and this probably will still catch some heat, people are going to call me a woman hater or some shit, but no matter which way you slice it, if you're having an abortion, that is a life that you're taking away. You know, pretty much 1/4, maybe if not 1/3 of my generation has been aborted. So, you know, it's just a crazy fact that you can go look that's out there. But yeah, basically I was talking about why we should have it. And then the girl chimes up again and she's like, but the rich are that was not going to work, because the rich, the people who are in power right now, are going to stay in power because they send their kids to private schools and they're just so much smarter. That's the gist of her argument. And I was like, what? Because I had already said the votes would be basic knowledge. Like I said, states, countries, basic stuff. That stuff is accessible to everyone. And let's get this straight, okay? If you go to private school, that doesn't automatically make you a genius. That's not how it works. My dad went to a private school, and I'll go toe-to-toe with him on any subject, dude. He's not a genius. So I just don't even understand that. That is just, honestly, complaining at the finest tier. You know, besides what I'm doing right now, just fucking complaining. But yeah, for you to sit there and be like, but the rich, they're gonna send their kids to school, and then those kids are gonna go to private school, and they're gonna get really smart, and then their vote's gonna matter more than mine because I'm dumb, and then they're gonna stay in power because they're gonna vote. And it's like, bro, like, oh my god, like she's like having a meltdown, and I'm like, oh my god, this is why I don't say anything, for one, because people are just gonna start like melting down. They take it so seriously. And so yeah, whatever, forget her, forget the girl boss feminism girl. There's two other kids. One is like actually giving somewhat good answers by saying like good opposing answers to my view by saying like, well, we're all equal. Okay, he said that to me, and I was like, yeah, but not everyone has equal intelligence levels, I guess, is what you could, if that's what you want to call it. And I get that, dude. I get everyone's equal and everyone should have a vote. But at the same time, if you're not going to take any interest in politics, I mean, really, what business do you even have voting? And people are going to be in the comments saying like, why are you in the politics and all this anyway? And it's like, bro, yeah, if you don't take an interest in politics, that's fine. But politics takes an interest in you. And there's more stuff going on than just your life. And, you know, just to kind of be ignorant to everything, it's blissful, I guess, but at the same time, I just don't like you, so, you know. But yeah, we have a chud in my class, okay, and I don't want to just come here and make fun of anybody, but this guy's like 40, he's balding, but he's got kind of hair to his shoulders, so it's kind of weird, and it's really thin and greasy looking, and, you know, I don't want to be a jackass or anything, but yeah, when the teacher asked, he was like, do you guys think we should have some sort of test or some sort of standard to vote or whatever he asked? And that guy is just like, no, absolutely not, no. But you know, as the class starts taking this debate, the teacher put him on the spot later. He was like, why do you think we shouldn't? And he just didn't have anything to say. And that just like kind of proves my point. It's like, yeah, he's up here voting right now for what he thinks should happen, but he doesn't have any actual arguments behind it. He doesn't have any like basis to back it up. Now, I get maybe he's like kind of a weirdo or he's shy or something or whatever, but it's just a fucking class, dude. Just say what you want. But, you know, that really proved my point. If the kids in there had to take some sort of test to even vote for that question, there would probably be less people talking, because some of those people definitely would not qualify, trust me. But yeah, you know, this just reminds me of maybe not my favorite quote, but one of my quotes I like, which is the best argument against democracy is the average conversation with the average voter. I kind of butchered it, but that's basically it. Yeah, just talk to the average voter, and then you're going to start to question, like, is my vote really doing something, or am I just kind of canceling this person out? Because, you know, people tend to vote for opposite sides, I guess, of the spectrum. But in my opinion, how things are going right now, pretty shit. And in my opinion, the next time we vote, the next election we have, everyone's going to vote. People are going to think it's getting better or something, but it's just going to be more shit. It's not going to get better. The same people are pulling the strings. Oh yeah, that reminds me. This was a final point I wanted to make. In the middle of all of this, I don't know how it happened, we started talking about money, how it'll be financed like kids to have better schooling or something. And the teacher was like, well, I don't know how we would do that. I don't know. He gave some dumb answer. But yeah, honestly, we do need better schooling in America. And you can just tell that by looking at anybody, really. But yeah, money got brought up. And then yeah, the teacher was like, well, how would we fund this? You know, it's taxes and all this. And then, you know, one of the kids, and I love this kid for that. I don't even know who it was. I wish I did. But he was like, well, maybe if we didn't send billions of dollars to other countries. And then everybody, you know, the noticers, I guess, looked around, and we were all looking at each other like, yes, dude, for real. Like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be giving billions of dollars to other countries. And maybe we could have a better education system so we don't have people in a philosophy class talking about girl boss feminism, and life would just be better off for everybody. But yeah, that happened, and I couldn't help it. I was like, exactly. I just shouted it out. And then, you know, some people, they kind of had to look like they don't really know. But if you know, you know. Okay, you know. But yeah, that brings me to my final point, dude. I think the same people, no matter what, are pulling the strings, and I really don't think shit's maybe I have kind of a doomer mindset or whatever, but I don't see shit getting better, to be honest. So I'm at the point where I just want to watch it fucking crash and burn, bro. Not literally, okay? Somebody's gonna get really mad. I don't want people to die, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're in the making of history right now. But yeah, this video is dragging on, so I'm gonna try and wrap it up here.